This is Mrs. Naslund, and today we are on lesson 10, focusing on problem solving. We're going to start by reading about a pizza farm. So here's what it says. Math in a vegetarian pizza farm. A pizza farm is a circular region of land divided into 8 pie-shaped wedges or slices, such as those you would see in a pizza. At a vegetarian pizza farm, each wedge or slice grows a different vegetarian ingredient used to make pizza. Some things you might find on a vegetarian pizza farm include wheat, fruit, vegetables, Italian herbs, dairy, cows to make cheese. So I'm looking at my nice little wedge circle graph here, and let's go ahead and read what it says. It says, write an equation to solve. A farmer created a vegetarian pizza farm with these wedges, or slices. 3/8 for vegetables, 1/8 for wheat, 2/8 for fruit, 1/8 for dairy cows, and 1/8 for Italian herbs. What fraction of the farm is made up by fruit or vegetables? So first I have to know all the pieces of my farm. In the bottom, the denominators here give me the hint of 8, but we'll just double check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8's my denominator. And I know of fruit, there's 2 out of 8. So I'm going to write 2/8, because remember they want us to write this as an equation. So I have 2/8 is fruit. And then it wants to know fruit or vegetables. So vegetables, I have 1, 2, 3 out of 8. So I'm going to say 2/8 plus 3/8. 2/8 plus 3/8. And that equals, if I add those two together, remember I add my numerators, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5/8 of my vegetable garden is made up of fruit and or vegetables. All right, now it says, what fraction of the farm is not made up of wheat? So I'm going to count everything but wheat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I would get 7/8 is made up of not wheat. Okay, or if I wanted to write that as an equation, I could say 8/8, or the entire piece of pie, right? And I could subtract the wheat, which in this case is just 1/8. And I would get 7/8 is made up of not wheat. All right, which wedge of the farmer is bigger, the wedge for fruit or the wedge for Italian herbs? Explain. So let's go ahead and write the fractions for those. For fruit or Italian herbs, Italian herbs make up 1 of the 8 pieces, so Italian herbs is 1/8. And the fruit makes up, let's see, the fruit, which is bigger, the wedge for fruit. Okay, the fruit makes up 2 out of 8. So which one of those is bigger? That is the question. Well, I can see that 2/8 is greater than 1/8. Okay, so the wedge for the fruit is bigger because it takes up 2 of the 8s versus just 1 of the 8. All right, we're going to go to the next page here. It says, on Monday, 2 of the workers at the pizza farm each filled the basket with ripe tomatoes. Miles picked 15 1/6 pounds of tomatoes, and Anna picked 13 5/6 pounds of tomatoes. How many more pounds of tomatoes did Miles pick than Anna? So how many more pounds? And I see that, that jumps in my head. I need to do a subtraction problem. So I went ahead and wrote these out for us. We have 15 1/6 minus 13 5/6. And right away I think to myself, I can't just do that, right? I can't do 1/6 minus 5/6. So when I run into this, I'm going to borrow just like I would in normal subtraction. But when I add it on, I have to add it on a little different. I have to add on a whole, but in fraction form. So I look at my denominator, I see it's a 6th. So I'm going to add on 6th, 6, which if I take 6 divided by 6, I get 1. So I'm stealing 1 from here and I'm adding it on here. So now I have 7/6 over here. And the good thing is now that I have 7/6, I can say take 7/6 minus this 5/6, So 7 minus 5 is 2/6. So that's my fraction part of my problem. And then I go over here and I have 14 minus 13, which is 1. So she picked 1 2/6 more pounds. Miles picked 1 2/6 more pounds than Anna. All right, good. Now it says for problems 5 and 6, use the line plot to solve. After a field trip to a vegetarian pizza farm, Mrs. Cannon asked each of her students to use some of their study time to research different vegetarian ingredients for pizza. The line plot below shows the amount of time each student spent researching during their study time. So it says time spent researching in hours. So we have 1/5 an hour. There were 2 kids that took that long. 2/5, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. 3/5, we have 5. 4/5, we have 2. And 5/5, or 1 whole hour, we have 1. So it says how many students spent at least 3/5 an hour researching. So meaning they did 3/5 or more. When I see at least, I know that I have to not only do that one, but I have to go above it too. So we had 5 students that spent 3/5 an hour. So I'm going to write 5 students. Plus, I had 2 students that spent 4/5 of an hour. Plus, I had 1 student that spent 5/5 an hour. And if I add that together, I get 5, 6, 7, 8 students spent their time researching. I'm just going to abbreviate students here because it's so hard to write students. Okay, good. Last question. How many hours in all did the students who researched 2/5 an hour spend researching? Write a multiplication equation to solve. Well, they want to know how much total these kids spent. There were 4 students total, and they each spent 2/5 of an hour. So my multiplication equation is going to be 4 times 2/5. How do I multiply fractions again? I'm going to take this whole number and I'm just going to put it over a 1. And I'm going to multiply right across. So then I get 4 times 2, which is 8. And my denominator is 5 times 1, or it stays the same as 5. So right now it's an improper fraction. In order to figure out the hours, I'm going to need to change it into a mixed number. So I'm going to think to myself, how many times does 5 go into 8? It goes in 1 time. I'm at 5, and then I count up to 8. 6, 7, 8. 3 would be my numerator. And then my denominator is going to be 5. So they spent 1 3/5 of an hours doing research. The 4 of those kids did. So that concludes our focus on problem solving in this lesson.